one of the best home field advantages in all of world football, and Nacional Potosí are going to hope that they can make it count. They are the only Bolivian side in this first stage of qualifying the Copa Libertadores. The winner of this clash goes on to face Independiente Medellin in the second stage. Second stage where is just one Bolivian side always ready, representing Bolivia in the second stage. As this first stage, the first hurdle that these teams have to face before punching their ticket to the group stage phase of the competition, as there are 3 stages of qualifying that are played before the group stage portion of the competition begins. Let's take a look at the starting 11 for the home side. Club Atlético Nacional Potosí. It is Mustafa who gets the start in goal. The back line with Chatti, Ortiz, Gayan. On the flanks, Mansilla, Agnes with Pavia, Andia. Cristaldo sitting in behind the front partnership of Prost and number 10, Nunez. There is VAR in the first stage of qualifying in the Copa Libertadores this season. The man with the whistle, and Oscar Herrera Toledo from Venezuela. He will be leading an all Venezuelan staff on the pitch. VAR room is led by Rafael Trasi from Brazil. Also a Bolivian and a Uruguayan in the VAR room to assist and in charge from Brazil. Communication between him and our referee Herrera will be key here today. 2 captains winning up in midfield. Focused looks on the faces of the players as we get closer and closer to kickoff. Winning the coin toss, El Nacional. Goalkeeper Cabezas calling which side of the pitch he wants to attack on. Mansilla opting to get the ball first for Nacional Potosí. Here is the 11 for the 13th-time Ecuadorian champions. Captain Cabezas is in goal. The back 4 with Nazareno, Nicolta, Chala, and Parrales up front. Carrillo and Ordóñez will be looking to back the goal with Meya, Solis, Julio, and Valverde in the midfield. A 4-4-2 formation for Ever Hugo Almeida. El Nacional, so successful domestically. We'll be hoping to make some noise in South America as well. Step aside, a moment of silence to remember King Pelé. And then the first half of Nacional Potosí, El Nacional.
Leyenda del fútbol, quien nos deja un legado imborrable en la historia del deporte mundial.
You can see there's lots of water below that trimmed grass at the Hernando Siles, and an interesting lineup for Almeida not to include Byron Palacios. Almeida usually likes to play strong defensive teams, long balls, and forwards who can bring it down and hold play. Well, Palacios completes that form, but he's on the bench tonight.
Certainly someone that can enhance the attack in case they need it. Byron Palacios.
Ronnie Carrillo, as you mentioned, George, is the target man tonight. He scored 16 in Serie B for that title and for El Nacional to be back up.
Nacional, the primera etapa in Ecuador hasn't started yet, as mentioned, starting at the end of the month in February.
Yeah, they start against Aucas.
Aucas, the defending champions in the Ecuadorian First Division. It's dropped all the way back to Said Mustafa, long-time goalkeeper for Potosí. So the Ecuadorian clubs, both teams have Nacional in their name. So the home side, say Potosí. Here's a burst down the left side, an opportunity for Nacional. So the home side, the Peruvians, the Bolivians, we're going to call Potosí, and the Ecuadorian club Nacional. So there we go. Hopefully that will make things clearer.
Gatti had to react quickly. He got burned on that run. Gatti and Ortiz, the center backs, are new to the team, so let's see how that chemistry works between the two Argentinians that play in the back for Potosí.
They have Maicon Solis getting ready to send this one into the area. And Yander Herrera, early warning here in terms of the pushing and the shoving. Solis, right-footed, near post, looking for Chala. And now up the pitch in the time for a break in transition. Yep. Not quite. Making with Maximiliano Nunez, and back to David Cabezas, the goalkeeper. Through the midfield. In the break was Martin Prost, veteran Argentine striker. Played down the right side for Parrales. Sliding tackle, well done there. Victor Galain, the Uruguayan. Another opportunity, Parrales inside. And well positioned.
Did not care and just put it away.
And the Potosí players are saying, trying to get desperate here and say it was offside, but it was not. It was perfectly placed by Parrales. What a ball in, and it is 1-0 for El Nacional. Now remember, no away goals rule here, so in previous tournaments in which the away goals rule was in effect, this goal would kind of count as double, if you will, but not anymore. So El Nacional might want to get another goal just to make it a little bit more comfortable heading into that second leg. But what a great goal there. What a great ball in. That one was the killer play there. Jorge Ordóñez. Now how will Potosí respond?
Yeah, and it's easier for El Nacional to try to manage their energy when they're ahead, taking into account the very high altitude with which we're beginning our Copa Libertadores coverage. We had what, between yesterday and today, like 22,000 feet or something?
The Huancayo, Peru, the Estadio Huancayo is up there in altitude around 10,000 feet, 3,000 meters. In that 2-1 victory against Nacional de Asunción, Club Nacional de Asunción. There's a lot of Nacionals in the
a lot of
Nacionals
stages. And a lot of feet.
Yes. And Martin Prost getting an early yellow.
Yeah, he tried to do the turn, but he found the face of the opponent. Prost is another forward to keep an eye on. The Argentinian plays number 20 up front. Won a title with Independiente de Sucre a couple of years ago in Bolivia.
Martin Prost seeing the first yellow, or as they say in Spanish, tarjeta amarilla. So not only are you going to see some football, but you might learn some terms in Spanish as well. Going down on that right side, Oscar Añez. committing the foul as he brings down Brian Nazareno.
Yeah, barely touched him with his left foot.
Excuse me, that was Luis Pavia that committed the foul there. So Eder Hugo Almeida, longtime goalkeeper for Club Olimpia in Paraguay. He knows what it's like to participate in coaching this tournament. Here is the service by Nazareno inside. Once again looking for Ordóñez. Cleared away. Parrales. We know he can drop in some beautiful services and deliveries into the area, but that time it's headed out. All the way back for Madison Julio. Jerry Parrales again. Trying to lift it over the top, covered by Mancilla. Tries it again, lifting it over everyone, trying to chase it down was Eddie Mejia. Making an advanced run into that position from his midfield spot. So 10th minute, and we've had some good football here between Potosí and Nacional. There's the captain Mancilla. Mancilla, left-footed, inside trying to connect. With Cristaldo making the run going forward. Well covered by Micolta. Potosí with a patient approach to the possession here. Good ball in, Cristaldo, service. There's Prost over the head of Prost.
First half chance for Nacional Potosí. Team that seems to leave too much space behind. There's a tendency to open up, and depending on how much energy the forwards expand in this first half for El Nacional, there'll be clear chances to double the lead.
Ordóñez and Carrillo up top. Now with that defensive 4-4-2 set up, and long ball, Nazareno heads it. Chased down by Mejia. Plays it into the middle for Madison Julio. Jefferson Valverde getting a touch. Here's Maicon Solis. Not a bad first name for a footballer, Maicon.
No.
Jerry Parrales. Faced up by Mancilla. Parrales getting the assist on the goal. 6 minutes in for Ordóñez. Potosí trying to make something happen is Marcos Andia. Alain. Poor touch there and given away, and now a chance for Nacional to go forward. Here's the goal scorer, Ordóñez, cutting inside. And the two Argentines there, Ortiz and Chiatti, shutting him down before he could go any further. Slick footwork there. Now a little bit sloppy out of the back for Potosí. And now falls for Solis. Solis with the shot. It's blocked. Falls back to him. Solis again. Over the top. Back post and safely headed away by Áñez to concede the corner for El Nacional.
You were a little generous with a little sloppy by Nacional Potosí, giving away this chance on the breakaway. You got that feeling when El Nacional gets the ball in the opposing half that something can happen, and that's pretty much because of the lack of solidity in this home team defense. And we will have to dive into the books. It wasn't inside 15, but inside 16, and they're 3-0 down, making it very, very tough for the debutants to stay at least with chances for next week.
Potosí, we talked about it, it's their first ever Libertadores match. They're making their debut, and they look like a side who are making their debut. It has been nervous, to say the least, sloppy, and I'm being generous when I say sloppy play out of the back. Poor marking in the area, and it is a surprising 3-0 advantage for Nacional after 16 minutes. Let's see if Potosí can pull one back. The defensive header, there's the chance, not even close, and Victor Hugo Andrada, the Argentine manager of Potosí, I think concern is an understatement. Nice chance for Nacional Potosí. And
yeah, remember they're coming off a 3-0 loss, so it's 6 goals they bagged in what, 2 hours of football this season.
And Nacional, you have to admire their ruthlessness in terms of the finishing and not letting up. Every time they had the chance, there was some sloppy play in the back. They took advantage. They were direct going forward and open up a 3-0 advantage. And they have to be careful, Potosí. If not, could see another goal here. And if you're Andrada, the manager, you're playing 3 in the back. You've given up 3 goals. Do you switch and play 4 in the back and just kind of defend more, or do you stick with the 3-man back line here, knowing that it's been very sloppy and holes all over the place?
I think that when you say 3 in the back, many times it's 5.
Right.
And right now it has to, because there's no other way of coming back if you're going to play 5 in the back, which is the case nowadays many times when you initially see the lineup. Okay, they're playing 3 in the back, but then the game starts and it's more like 5.
Right.
We're here. It can even be 2 at times because you need a lot of goals.
The 2 wingbacks, by the way, Oscar Áñez and Mancilla on the right and left respectively, as the one-time service. Not even close to the goal, defended by David Cabezas, in frustration for Victor Hugo Andrada.
Yeah, we haven't seen much of Gustavo Cristaldo, the Paraguayan, number 19 in Nacional Potosí, who also should link well with Prost up front. They played together in Independiente Sucre, that title I was mentioning from a couple of years ago. But Cristaldo barely smelled the ball in these 20 minutes.
Now with Potosí trailing 3-0, he has to be more involved in the attack to even just pull one back. As Mustafa, certainly can't blame the goalkeeper, Said Mustafa, for the goals.
No, I think none of the 3.
Yeah. 2 excellent headers after great services into the area, deliveries into the area, and then the 3rd goal, just a mistake in the back, and Carrillo planting it over the line into the back of the net. Now, Mancilla, the captain, going forward there, gets the ball back from Galain. He's tried to get it back. It was actually a clever run, just an inaccurate pass.
Yeah, I agree. The last 2 or 3 minutes, it looks as if they're settling a little.
Yeah.
But they're beginning 3-0.
Chala in the middle for Solis, or for Julio, excuse me. There's Julio again, working with Solis. He goes down, and you can see the wet pitch there. He slid another 2 or 3 feet there, or meters, if you will. Try to use both, metric and imperial. I think that's what it's called, imperial measurements. It's crashing in the middle there. Kiati. Blonde hair of Jonier Chala. Cabezas almost slips, but gets it to Nazareno.
Yeah, it shows the confidence that Nacional has, playing out of the back, like kind of a no-look pass by the keeper.
It helps. At 3-0, makes it easy. Ooh, Carrillo almost inside. They were sandwiched in between a couple of Nacional Potosí defenders. Is marking a little bit better here for Potosí.
Yeah, Kiati and Ortiz having all sorts of trouble. Barely able to deflect it to a corner kick.
We're going to get it. Looks like we're going to get an early substitution here. Looks like Andrada is going to make the change early on. The tactics is the corner near post is headed away. And Kiati is going to come off and be replaced by Tommy Tobar. 23 minutes in.
Yeah, and it has all the makings of a punishment.
Yes,
because there's no injuries, at least to the naked eye.
So Tommy Tobar, the Colombian striker, last season for Potosí. 22 goals across the 2 tournaments, and there's a service inside defensive header. And then the long-range efforts. No problem there from Mustafa from Jefferson Valverde.
We saw another good left-footed cross from Perales. Swirls it in from the right, creating havoc on that defense.
So 3-0 for Nacional, the visitors from Ecuador, with Ordóñez scoring in the 6th minute with a header. Chalá, 13th minute with a header. And then Carrillo, skillful right-footed shot past Mustafa after a mistake in the back. So tactical substitution made here in the 23rd minute is Martin Chiatti.
That goes, excuse me, George, to your answer. See, now it seems it's 2 on the back. When the ball was played, and it might remain that way, at least for a while, see if they can get closer.
Yeah, this is, when you play that situation with Áñez and Mancilla playing so high, they need to control the possession here. They can't give it away. You've seen how well Nacional can go forward in transition. Tovar.
Looked like a corner to me, but the goal kick was given. Chalá appeared to be the last man to touch it. It will be goal kick of Nacional nonetheless.
That's what I thought as well. I thought it was going to be a corner. It was not the case. Well, I guess you have to give Andrada credit. Instead of kind of seeing what happens.
That's true.
In the next 20-25 minutes or into the second half, he says, oh, I might have made a mistake here with the 3 in the back, and makes the attack-minded substitution early. So now, if you have that Áñez, Ortiz, Galain, and Mancilla in that back of 4, but as you mentioned, going forward in the attack is just 2. So how will that affect the attack going forward? I don't think much will change in terms of the mentality for Nacional. This is the header. Tovar wins it, looking for Prost.
Prost had the advantage had he tried to play that ball. He was complaining to the referee when I think he had a chance to touch it and get the one-on-one.
Yeah, let the play go. Play the advantage as we get our 2nd yellow card of the match, 26th minute. As Perales sees yellow. The man who assisted on the first goal.
The birthday man, 26 tonight.
That's a way to celebrate there. He gets an assist. Assist in the yellow card. Well, the yellow card is not a good birthday present, but the assist is. Happy birthday to the right back of El Nacional. So now set piece opportunity here. Free kick for Potosí. They need to pull one back here. They need to really have a chance at salvaging a good result. I guess a draw. They need to get one goal at least here in this first half. So now the wall is set up, and Gustavo Cristaldo is going to put his left foot into this one.
Yeah, Tovar is menacing, roaming that area, looking for a rebound or the ball ricocheting somewhere. You mentioned the 22 goals scored last season. 15 of those were in the Clausura, the last tournament, George, out of the 24 he played. So let's see what he can produce in this hour and change we got left.
There's the chance here. Cristaldo! Brilliant save by Cabezas. First shot on target for Potosí. Cabezas punching it out again. Galain controlling the possession. And Potosí threatening the defense here. Nacional put some good pressure. It's a weak pass, but how about Mustafa coming all the way out of his penalty area to clear it up the pitch there.
Well, Cristaldo made an appearance on the game, but nice dive by Cabezas.
It's a great swerving effort there by Cristaldo and a great save by Cabezas. We're seeing that from set pieces, Potosí can pose some problems for the defense of Nacional. Now they just need to keep doing that to get back into this match. Well, it certainly has been an eventful first half with the 3 goals and then that free kick. And here is Madison Julio bursting forward. Hitting it to Maicon Solis. Here's Parrales back into space for Solis. Solis head up one time into the area. It's going to fall. The header for Ordóñez. Took a deflection on the way to the Nacional forward. Sends it over the crossbar.
It seems like El Nacional will have chances on the air all night long, because no matter who is in the box for the Ecuadorians, the ball gets to them. In this case, Ordóñez couldn't quite snap it down the way he wanted to.
When you look at it again, you can see that Ordóñez wasn't the only option. Carrillo was there, Pili Valverde was close, so maybe a little. It took a deflection there, and that popped the ball up in the air. But if it doesn't take a deflection, maybe Carrillo on the other post is there with a free header. So even with this switch tactically, the marking is still a little loose as Áñez whistled for the foul. Nacional Potosí qualifying for the Libertadores in finishing 4th in the accumulated table of points of both tournaments.
67 and 40 matches.
Ooh.
And again, a team with lots of goals in both areas. It's 75 goals for, 64 goals against.
Ooh.
That's almost 140. 139 in their 40 matches.
Whoa.
That's 3.5 per match, counting both goals.
Right.
But it's still a lot. You go to see a Nacional Potosí game, you have guaranteed more than 3 goals.
And we're right at the average now, right here with this match.
Early on. Not the way they like the average, though.
Right. So those numbers makes it clear that it's never a dull match when Potosí take the pitch.
No.
Which is great for us because we get to watch a great game and see goals and
as neutrals.
Yeah.
All the way.
The Potosí fans are not too happy, but for us neutrals, we're having a good time with less than 15 minutes remaining here at legendary Estadio Hernando Siles in La Paz. 3-0 for Nacional, the side from Ecuador, with Ordóñez, Chalá, and Carrillo, the goal scorers for the side in blue. Here's the left-footed shot by Parrales. And he almost bent that one into the top corner.
Yeah, it fell to him, but he has shown that he has a good off foot. That couple of crosses in this shot that did not miss by much.
You can see that Cristaldo was just kind of lazy there. He saw that Parrales didn't drop back, and Cristaldo doesn't hurry, push forward to try and defend a little bit. So it's been a rough first half for Potosí. Here is Mejia in the corner.
By Mustafa.
What a save. Save Mustafa. And Mejia. Once again, Nacional just brimming with confidence here. And Mejia with his left foot. Puros Criollos.
Again, keep an eye on Chalá. He'll relentlessly look for those.
It's Micolta being marked by Tobar. Far post, the header. And that's Ordóñez again elevating. But sending the header wide. And right now, when it comes to balls in the air, Potosí are thoroughly outmatched by Nacional. They are dominating the aerial balls.
Yeah, and it's not always the tall players, as you can see.
foul.
Another chance on the breakaway.
That turnover, and the passing for Potosí just has to be sharper here. That's the biggest problem they've had in this match so far. Here's Solis. Turn by Ordóñez. Ordóñez was keeping it in. Ordóñez mentioned for a player to get up in the air and win headers. It's only about 5'10", 5'11", which is, you don't expect a player that height. It's not short, but expect 6'1", 6'2", 6'3" players to win the ball in the air. Not someone 5'11" is at a yellow card. And Marcos Andia is going to be booked, but Ander Herrera wants to wait until he gets up on his feet before showing him the yellow. So he couldn't take his time, just delaying the inevitable, as he is the second Potosí player to see yellow. This is in the 35th minute.
For this foul right here.
Ooh.
Yeah, his cleats in the front.
Yeah.
It's definitely yellow card deserving. And Parales is in pain.
Marcos Andia winning the foul, and definitely not the way Victor Hugo Andrada, who is in his third spell as manager of Potosí, definitely not the way he expected or envisioned his first half to go. Tommy Tovar coming on as a tactical replacement, but has yet to really have an impact in this match so far.
Another angle of that very hard foul.
Remember, we do have VAR here, so I wonder if maybe they're going to take a look at it there for red, maybe.
Yeah, Parales' difficulty staying on his feet. See what Almeida decides.
Two-time Libertadores winner with Olimpia, Paraguay. He knows what it's like to play in this tournament, coach in this tournament. Legendary figure for legendary Paraguayan club. There's less than 10 minutes remaining here at the Estadio Hernando Siles. Nacional up 3-0, and when you consider some of the chances, it wouldn't be surprised if it was 4 or 5. They have been that strong in the first half. This is directly toward goal. No problem there from Mustafa, who saw it all the way.
Yeah, they had less numbers, though, because Parales was out, so they didn't want to expose themselves to the counter. So he tried his luck on goal.
Jefferson Valverde with the shot on target. And building from the back here, Potosí.
Very inaccurate with their passing, not only from the back, but when they try to create. We saw too little from Gustavo Cristaldo, as we mentioned, Martin Prost, or even Tovar in the few minutes he's played.
And someone in that midfield, preferably Cristaldo, has to just tell his teammates, let's calm down, settle, come in. He has to maybe drop back into the middle and a little bit deeper and control the rhythm of the game, because as you mentioned, whether it's out of the back or in their attacking half, the passing has been subpar,
yes.
Put it that way.
Yes, to be diplomatic.
Yes. Cristaldo definitely has to be the leader in that sense. And Nacional with Carrillo putting a little bit of pressure. As Ortiz looking forward for Tovar. Referee says no foul.
Should allow this goal.
I agree.
He was behind the ball. There is VAR, and I think both situations were pretty clear.
I agree. Yep. It looked like Galain was keeping on Carrillo on that first pass.
And on the second, the receiver was behind the ball when it was played.
Yep. So I think they're reviewing it here. And, you know, Bruno, I'm with you. I wouldn't be surprised this is a fourth goal for Nacional.
If they are reviewing it, there's no chance it will be disallowed.
I agree. Yeah.
I thought they were not going to review it. This is a goal.
And you could see the defenders there, Ortiz and Galain, were relaxed because they thought it would be offside.
Correct.
This could really be, if the first 3 goals weren't heartbreaking, this could be devastating for Potosí. I mean, there's nothing about that we saw in the replay to suggest that this goal will be disallowed or should be disallowed. I think we're looking at 4-0 and Ordóñez with a brace.
By all means. And it's taking too long.
Yeah, and this is really my only issue with VAR is that how long it takes. Let's see. Yep.
But there's not even a hint of a doubt.
Right. So the initial pass to Carrillo is not the one that they're looking at. I think they decided pretty quickly that he was clearly on. So they're looking at this last touch here. I think they need to
speed things up.
Speed things up, yeah. Be decisive here.
They're having some mercy, maybe?
Yeah, that may be what it is. They're like, oh, they're down 3-0. Maybe we shouldn't, but yes, it does. There it is.
Both situations, again, pretty clear.
So Ordóñez gets a brace. And you said it, Bruno, it was very clear, yes. Both movements. And Nacional Potosí, this is a nightmare debut.
Again, they're passing, George, because it starts with sloppy passing, not a lot of movement. And Nazareno with his anticipation, a good pass, no offside there. And selfishness by Carrillo, because he intended as a pass. I think it would have gone in anyway, but he tried to pass it through to Ordóñez.
And when you look at that replay, another aspect of it, how casual did Carrillo kind of just run into space, and he wasn't even marked. It wasn't like a hard run.
True.
It's kind of just casually
like a jog in the park.
Exactly. Exactly. And Nazareno was very smart to see that and play the ball into space for Carrillo. Here's a long-range attempt. No threat to cabezas in goal, and this first half cannot end fast enough for Victor Hugo Andrada, the manager of Potosí. 4-0. And I know Ever Hugo Almeida, the manager of Nacional, I don't think he was even expecting to have 4 goals in the first half. Yeah. There's Carrillo. Everyone was expecting the offside. I was expecting the offside on the first pass from Nazareno to Carrillo, but we saw the replay and he was clearly on. Well onside. So even the tactical change there, bringing on Tovar for Chiatti, hasn't worked. And it's because, as you mentioned, Bruno, because of the passing and the sloppy and the giving the ball away. And once again, they do it. And here is Solis in the space. The flag stays down. It's Ordóñez again. Ordóñez inside for Carrillo. Ooh.
Yeah, that was not intentional, but definitely reckless. And Carrillo gets fairly yellow carded.
So Carrillo with a goal. I guess you could say an assist on the Ordóñez goal, and now a yellow card in the 43rd minute.
That would have been controversial because it was pretty close. It seemed onside, but really close. Carrillo could not finish, and we have a yellow card instead of the 5th goal.
Ooh, yeah, goes right to the head there. Clearly unintentional, but definitely deserving. So the second yellow for a Nacional player after Parrales was booked in the 26th minute. And this has been
a nightmare for Andrade.
Yep.
You start your participation historically as a club in Libertadores, and this is the 4th goal. The long ball, the casual run by Carrillo, and then the pass for Ordonez, who has the simplest of tap-ins to make it 4.
Well, at this point, Potosí probably just looking for the goal of honor here right before the end of the first half. Don't see too much time for stoppages. Maybe 2 minutes the most. That's always a little guessing game I like to play with myself.
Yeah, 2, 3 at the max.
Yep.
Because there's a tendency to give more lately.
The lingering effects of the World Cup, where it seemed like every match had 8 minutes in the stoppage time in the first and second halves.
Which I like, to be honest, because I mean, the amount of time wasting, it was long coming. Additional added time.
And there is Carrillo again, finding out wide to Solis. Solis with the chance. Mustafa, no problem there, but once again, Nacional finding those spaces pretty easy going forward. Elevating their Micolta to win the header. 3 minutes added on here. Makes David Cabezas look for the ball there.
Yeah, he had his chance, tried with a left-footed effort from long range, couldn't impact it the way he wished. We didn't see much of that in the first half.
That's something we're used to seeing, especially if you know anything about Bolivian football in this building in altitude. Teams taking shots from long distance from well outside the penalty area. We'll run down to 22 on the pitch in just a second here. We'll see what develops from this attack for Nacional. Down the left side, Nazareno into the middle, just outside the penalty area in the half circle. Ball given away. Nazareno almost wins it off Ovañez, and should be a throw for the Bolivian side, whose shirts look very, very similar, if not identical, to legendary Argentine club River Plate, which I'm sure was the inspiration for the logo and the shirt.
More than the inspiration,
yeah.
I would say, yeah.
They copied it.
Yes.
Yes. Exactly. Ooh, there's a chance. Oh, offside. As Nunez.
Yeah, it looked pretty clear from that angle. Let's see, when the header is played by Jabbar,
Yep.
At least 3 feet.
So the man in charge with the whistle and the cards in yellow and black is Yander Herrera, assisted by Lubin Torrealba, Alberto Ponte, and the 4th official, Angel Arteaga. The 4 officials on the pitch representing Venezuela. VAR is in use. A couple of Brazilians in charge of the VAR. Rafael Trasi and Rodrigo Guarizo. The VAR officials. No changes at halftime for Nacional. It's a rare, poor touch by Solis. Now played out wide and just outside the reach. Maximiliano Nunez.
That wasn't a bad idea. We have not seen play switch fields on those possessions that Nacional Potosí had. It was mostly bad passes in the first half.
So Potosí, 22 on the pitch. Said Mustafa is the goalkeeper. Áñez, Ortiz, Galain, and Guerra has come on for Mancilla. Leaños coming on for Pavia. Andia, who has a yellow card in the 35th minute. Still the attacking trio of Cristaldo Nunez and Martin Prost. Those are the 11 on the pitch for La Banda Roja. And reading some Bolivian sites, they also call them El Rancho Guitarra.
Yeah, or the machine, La Máquina.
La Máquina. Yep.
Yeah, that trio is often aided by Tobar, the Colombian who came in the first half.
Yep.
But it did not cause a lot of damage to El Nacional so far.
Yeah, Tobar, one of the 3 substitutes on the pitch for Potosí. Tobar coming in the 23rd minute for Chiatti. After Nacional were up 3-0, after Potosí went down 3-0. Here is Tommy Tobar, Colombian. Gives the ball away. Cleared out by Micolta. The 11 on the pitch for Nacional. Cabezas is the goalkeeper and the captain. Parrales, Chalá, Micolta, Nazareno from right to left. Midfield of Valverde, Solis, Mejia, Julio, and then Ordóñez and Carrillo up top. And here's an opportunity going forward. It's Cristaldo. Cristaldo runs into Chalá, or excuse me, Micolta, to prevent any further progress.
And see how Nacional seems to be administering. In the first half, they would burst and run into every bit of space they got. Here, they seem content with passing in their own half. Let's see now.
Here's a burst going forward. It's going to fall for Ordóñez, who has 2 goals. Ordóñez! Well wide, going for a hat trick.
He had a great chance to get one. It was a very good pass.
And Solis won the ball in the midfield, and a huge gap in the middle there that Solis was able to connect with Ordóñez. Jefferson Valverde also for the foul. Potosí will build the attack.
Yeah, he tried to get a yellow card for the opposition, not given by Herrera.
Even up 5-1, Nacional still playing some mind games. Sent in, trying to connect with Prost. Tobar is there as well, cleared out by Micolta. All the way back. Nacional will have to build the attack from their defensive half.
The Bolivian teams still having trouble winning their first Copa Lib game.
Ball in, and Micolta.
None of the last 5 George could win in their debut in Copa Lib. Last one to do it, Real Potosí, the arch rivals from Nacional Potosí, 1-0 against San Lorenzo in 2002, and it doesn't look like Nacional Potosí will end that drought.
Yeah. Certainly the nightmare debut for Potosí. Trying to see if they could just, at this point, make the score respectable.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that would be an accomplishment.
Yeah, absolutely. If they can make the score respectable, excuse me. I think I mixed up respectable and spectacle. This is probably what's been for Nacional.
They would have given us both.
Yeah, and the service inside for Tobar. Save Cabezas, but
handball by Tobar. Yeah.
That's actually, this is better from Potosí here in the second half.
Yes, let's see if it's intentional, although these type of handballs seem to be called every time. I don't like that from the rule book or from the interpretation of the rule book. I think if there's no intention, like it always has been in soccer, then you don't call it. Because otherwise, with the ability of players nowadays in the box, we will begin, aiming at arms to get penalties.
Yep.
And that hand, to be honest, did not look like it was intentional, although it allowed Tobar to maybe score.
Right.
But that's the way soccer has been.
And Tobar he had it out there just kind of more for balance than anything.
Yeah. I mean, if he'd be so good as to move his arm with that speed, he'd be a keeper.
Yeah. At this point for Potosí, I think Mustafa would say, hey, you guys come and play goal and absorb a couple of these goals, making me look bad back here. It's been a struggle for sure for Potosí. Now trying to play the touch. Oh, Mustafa.
He heard you.
He
wants to come out and have the other guys take his post.
I think Mustafa is saying, hey, fellas, this is how you do it with the ball control. That was well done by the Potosí goalkeeper. Mustafa. It's given away. Solis. Ooh, that's dangerous there. Foul whistled in favor of Potosí.
Yeah, high boot by Michael Solis. Has to be taken a couple feet back.
And Potosí still mentioned the 3-0 loss to start the Bolivian First Division campaign against Oriente Petrolero. giving up 5 here. I think that Victor Hugo Andrada, defense will be the main theme in training over the next couple of sessions.
No doubt.
8 goals in not quite 2 matches. Oh, an opportunity here. It's Carrillo. Carrillo, oh, behind Ordóñez. Missed opportunity for a 6th goal for Nacional. But Ordóñez still on the possession. In the middle for Julio. Carrillo. And some poor passing there from Nacional to prevent a 6th goal, or at least to make it more difficult for them to get a 6th goal. And now Potosí on the move. Space down the right side for Guerra. Excuse me, that was Núñez, excuse me.
Not too often you see a target man, number 9 like Carrillo, being so generous, overpassing like he did on that blown chance.
Yeah, I thought for sure he was going to go toward goal as well, take the shot on target.
Yeah, the pass was not good.
So I think a rare mistake in attack for Nacional. And 3 players getting ready to come on for the visitors. Here is a burst on the right side. Parrales, service inside, punched out by Mustafa. And we're seeing some, I was going to say some open play here. Plenty of space through the midfield. And that one is sent into the stands at the Hernando Siles. Saw 3 players warming up. Yep, it's Patiño, Palacios, and Asprilla.
Yeah, I think it's smart on the part of Almeida. You know, this is usually when you play in altitude. And again, with the consideration that El Nacional players come from Quito, but there's still a difference in altitude. It's normally when it begins showing the most, although for many it shows at the first minute of play.
Right.
Still, those who get past that stage might show signs in the second half. And that's when he enacts. And we mentioned Palacios as a threat. So he'll get his chance.
A smart move here by Almeida. Taking out some key players to give them some rest. And breather in this altitude. We have Gustavo Asprilla coming on for Nacional. So, triple substitution for Ecuador, or excuse me, for the Ecuadorian club, Nacional. There's plenty of space here for Madison Julio. Julio goes down. The referee says play on. As we are approaching the 60th minute. And all the way back to Mustafa. So we had Gustavo Asprilla come on for Ronnie Carrillo. Byron Palacios come on for Jorge Ordóñez. And here's a chance here going forward. Plenty of space here. Looping it for our post before it could reach Martin Prost. Cristaldo, or that was Tobar trying to lift it for Prost. The pass was cut out. And in the final substitution, Daniel Patiño coming in for Eddie Mejia. So triple substitution in the 58th minute. Corner for Potosí, past the hour mark. Just past the hour mark. And Potosí forced backwards. And Service inside. Almost settles for Tovar. With Nunez lurking in the area. Now a chance for Nacional to break forward. In the middle, Asprilla getting a touch. Madison Julio as well out wide. Service inside. Over a couple of players going down. Mustafa misses contact with the ball. It's settled here by Solis. Solis looking for a second goal himself.
He wanted to cross, Almeida did. But this is a good opportunity for the forwards when you are in the bench in these type of games. And take another look at the play and the missed opportunity to send it across by Solis. If you're a forward and you're on the bench, you want to come in. You know you'll have a lot of space. You want to show the coach that you deserve that chance. Asprilla, as a matter of fact, played on that game. We were mentioning, George, the Noche Blanca for Liga de Quito, and he played very well. Palacios was the starter that day, and Asprilla replaced him. They both showed what they're capable of by beating heavily favored Liga de Quito.
Here's the corner, the header. Goes wide as Parrales winning the header there. And Nacional, mentioned, recently promoted to the first division after winning the Serie B in the Ecuadorian football setup, if you will, football pyramid, showing that they look like they're going to be contenders for the Serie A title in Ecuador.
Yeah, they won with 63 points in 36 matches. They were in first place since match day 28. Not that early, but still after a great second half of the season. And they never let go with Ronnie Carrillo as their high scorer, as we mentioned, with 16. And actually, one of the arguments to bring in Almeida for Serie B last season was that he would get paid with the prize money for the club if they got promoted, which was eventually what happened.
Chasing him down defensively there, preventing the move of Patiño going forward. Asprilla giving chase through the middle, and up looking at Años and drops it to Áñez. Haven't seen much from the wingbacks of Potosí in this match.
You're right. Neither Áñez or Mancilla, when he was in the field, show much in terms of pulling forward.
Taking away in Parrales. Trying to play it through to Asprilla. No relation to legendary Colombian forward Faustino Asprilla. To the top of the penalty area. And just when he was about to tee up the shot, in the middle, India slips. And that could have been a second goal for Potosí. You could see he was about to one-time that shot. And I wonder if the wet surface, it was raining.
Yeah, that pretty much sums up the night for Nacional Potosí. He was teeing up. He was aiming for that right-footed, strong blast that never came.
Andrada just saying, it was right there. Everybody saw it coming, and Marcos Andia just slipping in the footwork, not working out for him. Now, Nacional will build the attack going forward. So Nacional, mentioned in the first half, they qualified for the Libertadores in a very kind of unusual way. The way the Copa Ecuador was set up last season, it's kind of the normal bracket. When they get to the final, the last four, they play it's like a group stage.
Yeah, they play a round robin, home and away. It's pretty unusual because, like you said before, it's a simple elimination, only one game.
Yep.
But when you look at, a team that qualified for Libertadores, you see, okay, they were in Serie B, so what? They won the National Cup?
Right.
Or you read that they came to the National Cup, what? They won it?
They won it,
No, they didn't win it. Okay, maybe they lost the final and the other team had qualified somewhat. No, they didn't even get to the final.
Exactly.
And then you go deeper into it, and as George was explaining, it has a semifinal final round robin, home and away before that Libertadores because they won Serie B. Otherwise, even if they were third in Copa Ecuador,
last team in that semifinal was Aucas, if I remember correctly. So if Nacional did not get promoted, it would have been Aucas. And I think they were already in because they won the title. So
I'm not sure. I'm not even sure if it was contemplated then.
Yeah. Like what happens if in that case? Yeah. Interesting what happened with the Copa Ecuador. Luckily for us, Nacional got promoted.
Yeah. And luckily for them. And probably this happens because it's only the second edition of Copa Ecuador. It's not that it has a tradition and you can, there's all types of scenarios that have already played out.
That is an unusual way to qualify, but they did it, and it's, look, we've seen it in the past. Teams from the first phase or the second phase make it all the way to the group stage and into the round of 16 and quarterfinals. So, I mean, I think Barcelona, who plays Barcelona Sporting Club, who played in Ecuadorian First Division, did it a couple of seasons ago. So it's not impossible to come from this opening, these first few phases.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
And to add to that, I never quite understood what's the reasoning behind impeding Serie B teams to participate in Copa Libertadores.
Yeah.
If you obtained that access illicitly and playing a great, let's say, 2022 season, why wouldn't you be able to participate in 2023, even if locally you play in second division?
Well, that's the case in Argentina. Patronato won the Copa Argentina, but they were relegated after the regular season of league play. Well, they have the Liga and the Copa de la Liga, and they were relegated, and they're going to be participating in Libertadores. So interesting. Yeah, the second, as you mentioned, second division side qualify. They should play.
One of the 9 debutants.
Yes.
But in Ecuador, that's not the case.
Not the case. 9 de Octubre have a legitimate beef. They should go to the federation and say, hey, it's too late now, but next year. Or they should just get promoted.
Yeah.
That might be the better solution. But that's the beauty of the Libertadores, is that situations like that can arise where...
And they do arise all the time.
All the time.
Like that and of all kinds. Of, with managers, with executives, and on the field as well. We have a lot of those, which gives it that particular flavor.
That's why to me, it's my favorite international club tournament, just off of those qualities.
It's not a matter of perfect manicured grass and clear-cut rules.
It's the passion for the game, yes. When you get into the group stage and knockout stages, you see some of these crowds in these stadiums, you're like, my goodness, this is what football should be about. Copa Conmebol Libertadores. Well, Sport Huancayo up 2-1 after the first leg. Here's a chance inside as Asprilla, another opportunity there. Solis with the shot going wide, and Palacios is standing there with his hands open at the far post saying, hey, pass me the ball.
Yeah, he was open.
And one thing about this Potosí backline defense, they've been very slow to react, even from the beginning. The passing hasn't been sharp at all, but the reactions to plays in the penalty area has been slow for Potosí as well. Escobar lifting it to Núñez. Núñez harassed there by Nazareno, and Nazareno commits the foul. Well, the winner of this matchup after the second leg next Wednesday will take on Colombian side Medellin, or Deportivo Independiente Medellin, DIM, or just Medellin for short. So So that's who they will face in the next round. And it's looking like you never know what could happen. Libertadores is unpredictable. But if this scoreline holds up for the next 20 minutes and then nothing miraculous happens in the second leg in Quito, it'll be Nacional going up against Medellin. That should be fun. A couple of Colombian teams in that second phase. Millonarios at Medellin. A couple of Brazilian teams. Fortaleza and Atlético Mineiro. I'm getting a little ahead of myself.
I mean, that tends to happen if it's 5-1.
Yeah.
I don't blame you at all.
Cabeza slapping it away.
That was a good chance for Cristaldo to make things tighter from the spot kick with a good cross.
Yep. And there's Yander Herrera. The referee is going to have some words. Is Walter Jonier Chala. Sport Huancayo up 2-1 over Nacional de Asunción after the first leg in Peru. The winner of that matchup will move on to face Sporting Cristal in the second round, or the second phase, I should say. Oh, that's some good move to split a couple of defenders. Almost connecting with Prost, but Cabezas grabbing it before it could get onto the head of the Argentine striker. You mentioned Tovar and his goals last season for Potosí, but he really hasn't had the service to have an impact in the attack for Potosí so far.
No, and we saw him drop back several times to try to generate with the ball. He's not playing as a number 9, definitely. He's playing behind the strikers.
There's a chance here, looking inside for Prost over the head there. Cristaldo saw the run of Prost and played it over the top, but just Prost cutting inside, ball to the opposite direction.
It happened a lot tonight for Nacional Potosí on offense.
Frustrating evening for sure for the home side.
Man, imagine that. Play a Libretadores match for the first time in your 80-year history and you're down 3-0 after 16 minutes at home.
And here's Solis. Michael Solis cutting inside. Guerra does well to dispossess, and now Áñez
to just put it away across, and he mishits, and that was an excellent chance blown away by Prost.
Martin Prost is first season with Potosí after playing with the strongest. This building, by the way, the home of Bolivar, the strongest and always ready.
Plus the Bolivian national side with some historic triumphs here, beginning by the defeat of Brazil that ended the 4 years without losing a qualifying CONMEBOL match for the Verde Amarilla. And there were many others. 6-0 against
Argentina.
Maradona's Argentina.
This is a legendary building that has seen some great matches. And also, you have to say, Bolivian teams have probably the coolest names.
That's right.
Always ready, the strongest. Bolivar, named after obviously the great Libertador himself, Simón Bolivar. Some great names.
Royal Party I like as well.
Yeah, that's a great one. Royal Party. Here's a chance. The shot. Cabezas keeping it out.
Well, they're getting into some rhythm. A couple of chances in 5 minutes. This one was much tougher for Prost. He's right-footed, but a nice pass by Cristaldo, finding space. And right before Prost got cut off by Chala, he was able to bring the shot off at least.
Martin Prost has clearly been the best attacking player. Well, he's got the goal, obviously. But even just his movement in the space, to be an outlet, to be a receiver of pass, it's more interesting.
Correct. Thank you, George.
I got you. So 5-1 Nacional. 2 goals by Jorge Ordóñez. Walter Junior Chala with a goal. Solis a goal, and Carrillo, the goal scorers, Ronnie Carrillo. Potosí pulling one back in the first minute of first half stoppage time with Martin Prost scoring. Looks like a substitution. Well, we'll see what happens here. Nunez inside, and Prost again on the end of that service, but just could not control a header.
A flurry of chances. It was 3 or 4, some more clear-cut than others, but Nacional Potosí definitely getting closer and pressuring and generating throw-ins in that area.
Here is Gibson Orobio coming on. He will replace Madison Julio. So this is the substitution here in the 79th minute for the number 5, Gibson Orobio. As that shot, no threat to the goal of Cabezas from Gustavo Cristaldo.
And I'm surprised with all the changes that we haven't seen Brian Oña yet. He was expected to be a starter. Maybe he's not 100% physically. Number 10, the bee, La Abejita. Probably see him next week in the return leg for El Nacional.
Yeah, I suspect that this scoreline, if it holds up, if there isn't a goal or 2 more from Potosí, it's going to see maybe a completely different 11 than in a mismatch.
Good point.
And that's it with the service. Valverde controls it. Here is Solis.
Oña, by the way, is a winger, pretty quick player, so you would think he'd be ideal for the second half, last half hour or so.
There's a foul after or before the service from Nazareno. Nazareno into just to the top of the box is Guerra. Saulo Guerra taking down his opposite number and waging war on Solis.
Yeah, this is a clear foul observed by Almeida behind. Almeida, the first 3 champion in Ecuador. He actually was a coach when El Nacional last won a title in Ecuador. 2006, he was a coach.
He has a great legacy as a coach and as a player. Former Guatemala national team manager as well. Winning a title with Municipal, but usually it's Municipal de Comunicaciones in Guatemala. Yeah. Winning back-to-back first division titles with Nacional is very impressive. This is the service in, punched out cautiously there by Mustafa. Settles for Nazareno. Lifting it over the top there, and Mustafa can settle for a little bit. It's less than 10 minutes remaining here at the Estadio Hernando Siles in La Paz. No goals in the second half after 6 goals in the first half. Next Wednesday, the second leg, as they say in Spanish, the Partido de Vuelta from the Olímpico Atahualpa de Quito. So this stadium is the home of the Bolivian national team, the Atahualpa, usually the home of the Ecuadorian national team, Latri. You know what, they didn't perform too badly in the World Cup, Ecuador.
No.
They didn't get out of the group, but they gave a good showing of themselves.
Yeah, coached by Gustavo Alfaro.
Yep. Here's a burst down the right side. Nunez head up looking, but Nacional getting the numbers back defensively. Quickly played in. And out by Chala. Another header by Palacios. Well, sloppy touch there, but controlled. In the middle, Leaños, and now on the move, Potosí. Much better performance in the second half for Potosí, especially in attack and when they've had possession, holding the ball a little bit longer.
Yeah, and much less to that same point from Palacios and Asprilla compared to Carrillo and Ordóñez.
Yep.
Particularly because Nacional Potosí got animated and burst forward a little more, so the two forwards for Nacional that came in had even more space, which they couldn't take advantage of.
Now Potosí going forward is Maxi Nunez. Nunez connecting with Tobar. Oh, nice back heel back into space for Nunez, but well read, intelligently read there by Chala.
Yeah, Chala played a solid game all over.
Yeah, he has. We're going to remember the goal, but defensively, he's not allowed anyone much space to operate. Martin Prost has been on the left side there, so that's kind of away from Chala's area, but yeah, solid game for the center back, Chala. The second leg should be very interesting in Quito. This one settled in the midfield there by Orovio. Service in, defensively cleared away. Settled in the middle. Andia now dancing. Oh, for a minute there, Orovio was like, where's the ball?
Yeah.
But eventually found it there.
It bounced off him.
And some little bit of a laugh exchange there between Orovio and Cristaldo. You'd like to see that.
Uh-huh.
And now Potosí. And how about Nazareno? Easy to spot him with the wild hair, but gets caught out of position and now on a chance going forward. And not the best deliveries and crosses there.
No, a pretty sloppy cross and a good chance after a nice pass by Cristaldo to put him through.
And Guerra, the one that trying to play it into the middle for Tobar, but as you said, not the best deliveries going forward. As Cabezas playing it long, and Potosí, well, they'll have a match in league play before. Ooh, let's see, is this a head-on collision as Andia has taken over the captain's armband after Mancia was replaced? And
yeah, falls over him, left arm on his head, and Andia is in pain.
And the elbow of Valverde is at the back of the head of Andia, and Valverde is down as well. He fell hard.
Stretcher in.
Yep.
For Valverde. Yeah, Nacional Potosí plays at home on Saturday against Blooming at their actual home, and Potosí at the Victor Ugarte.
We talked about the name of the team, Blooming, another name that's
there you go.
another unusual name. And there's the player you mentioned, Oña.
He'll get his 4 minutes and change.
He's going to come on for Jefferson Valverde. Also saw someone else changing as well. And it looked like Manuel Balda has put on his shirt, number 9. And he had a triple substitution in the 58th minute, then Orovio in the 79th. And another player goes down. If it's Nazareno. Sees yellow in the 87th minute. Oh, the rhythm of this match has slowed down a little bit. It's gotten a little choppy. Brian Nazareno comes in late. Kind of wild with the legs there on the tackle. Well, 3 yellow cards for Nacional in this match. Parales in the 26th. Carrillo in the 43rd, and Nazareno now in the 87th as it'll be Manuel Balda that steps onto the pitch, replacing Valverde. Now set piece opportunity here for Potosí. That's the last substitution here for Eder Hugo Almeida.
Well, one of the other survivors from the last participation of El Nacional in Copa Libertadores in 2017, Ordóñez was the other. So a pretty significant turnover. In 6 years, only 2 survivors from the squad, partly explained by playing Serie B
right
a couple of seasons.
You drop down a division, you have to let players go to kind of make up for some money lost. Yeah. And it's Leaños that's going to put his left foot into this one. 88th minutes, 5-1 in favor of the visitors in blue from the city of Quito, the great nation of Ecuador. And this one into the wall, chased down by Cristaldo. So Valverde coming off due to injury, and Manuel Balda taking his place. Now Potosí, I was going to say goal of honor, but another goal of honor.
Yeah.
Floated in, and David Cabezas, as goalkeepers are known to do at this time of the match, just get down to the ground and waste a little bit of time. As Micolta, 4th player booked.
Lots of space in the box for the forwards of El Nacional.
And that goal coming right before we find out how many minutes will be added on for stoppages here. In the 90th minutes, Gustavo Asprilla makes it 6-1 for Nacional. And that might be a mountain too high to overcome for Potosí. They know something about mountains, playing in the Andes, so we will see what happens. But certainly disappointing for the home side in white and red. 3 minutes added on here. Cabezas elevating. Oh, goes through his hands. And then chasing it down to prevent a corner kick was Patiño. It's Micolta.
Yeah, he gets hit in the face. Tobar hits Micolta inadvertently, at least from that angle, with his right arm. And see if the lineman sees differently.
Yep. As Ander Herrera is going to come over and assess the situation. So second leg next Wednesday in Quito, Olímpico Atahualpa. Nacional Potosí will have to overcome a 5-goal deficit on the road in order to advance to the second phase, in which they would face Independiente Medellín, the Colombian side Medellín. If they do that, it would probably be the greatest comeback in the history of the Libretadores if they are able to do it.
It would.
That would be something to behold. Well, there's some slick footwork. Nice move. Out wide on the left side there. Cristaldo to play, get the ball into the area. And Nacional's defense getting numbers back. He's picked off as Balda getting a touch onto it. Now down the right side. Asprilla. He put that goal away like Tino Asprilla. As I mentioned, no relation, but pretty good finish there from Gustavo Asprilla. Here's Tobar being challenged there by Micolta. Micolta has to be careful here. He does have the yellow card. He picked it up in the 89th minute. Maybe seeking a little bit of revenge after the little clashed accidental hit in the face from Tobar. Parrales, the man who assisted on the first goal.
With 2 balls in the field.
Yeah. Somebody kicked the ball there.
That's a good chance to get even closer for Nacional Potosí.
And Parrales inside. Almost falls for Asprilla. Palacios was lurking, but eventually Andia coming back. And here Potosí Last chance in transition as the 3 minutes of stoppage time have elapsed. Out wide on the right side. Nunez walking the ball up against Nazareno.
The second